Good morning. Welcome back to Balance Wellness and Fitness Center. I am Leslie. We're here in the Cat Cave again today, and I have for you an all levels yoga flow. It's approximately 20 minutes. It's a slow flow, so that helps build strength, mobility, and flexibility. If you're an experienced yogi, this is a great one to put at the end of a workout or in the morning to get you going. If you're brand new, this is an accessible way to start to build that strength, mobility, and flexibility on into your great self-care practice. As you'll see, you'll need a mat or towel to protect your spine. I have a blanket, my Pilates ball, my blocks, and my straps. You really won't need all of that, but if you're new, you may need some things to make things deeper. Or if you're experienced, you may want props to make them deeper. And that's the great thing about props. Sometimes I've heard people refer to them as cheats. Well, if you're new and if you're tight, you need those to help you so you can get further and deeper on into the stretch and with comfort so you're not guarding. And if you're experienced, you may need them to take you a little bit further. So don't think of them as a cheat because they're not. They will make your practice deeper and so you get out of it what your body needs. And if I didn't already mention, this flow can be totally done seated. So if you're at your desk, if balance is an issue or if life has changed and you are now seated, you can still do this flow. If you're ready, let's begin with dolphins as part of our warm-up. And if you're already warm, this should feel really good. Some of you may recognize some of the movements that we're going to do here. Oh, that's Pilates. But for dolphin warm-up, that half roll back does come into play here, but we're not focusing on our abs. We're focusing on opening up our back. So don't think of it as an ab challenge at all. We're going to get the flush out from underneath our hips. Sitting nice and tall, stacking your spine up. Kneecaps are aligned with your middle toes. And with an inhale, just find a little bit more lift in your chest, lifting up through the ribs. Exhale, we'll let that come back down, feeling the closing. And as you inhale, lifting up, you'll feel that little stretch in the abdominals as they extend. And let them close. Give yourself one more, just feel the rib cage move. Then we'll let our hands either rest on our shins, or we're going to rest right underneath. If they're shorter, or you need a little bit more grounding, or really tight, rest here. With an exhale, start to round through your back. This is known as a C-spine in Pilates. Inhale, stack back up from the bottom up, lifting up that chest again. And we'll exhale, rolling back as we warm up our spine and begin. Give yourself one more, and then we'll add our arms onto this. Roll on back. With that inhale, float the arms on up to the sky. Fingers are spread. We're going to pause here for a moment. We're going to find our roller coaster seat. So if you're pressing your spine back into that seat, squeeze your shoulder blades lightly together and find that headrest of your head. And as you exhale, let the hands come down gently in front or between the legs, rounding through that back. Inhale, float back up. Use those abs to help open up that low back again versus making an ab exercise. And now we're going to stay back. And this is a spot why I grabbed the Pilates ball. Some of you may need something here. If your core is weak, to give you a little support to put here. Because we're going to start to open up our hips. Draw those shoulder blades down. Keep those abs pulled in. Start with that right leg. With an inhale, let that knee open up. Sole of the foot comes up, entire leg, and close. Let it open. Close for 2. And open it. Close for 3. Use an inhale to bring yourself back up. And let's exhale our way back again, pausing. And now we'll do the left side. Let that leg open. And bring it in. Let it open. And in. One more time. And in. Use an inhale to bring yourself up. That helps inflate the spine. Exhale. As you peel, let the knees fall open. Inhale back up. It gives the spine some protection so the vertebrae aren't collapsing on each other by inflating those levels. It really doesn't go into your spine. And then exhale, peel back again. Just draw the shoulder blades down. Gently warming up all parts. Let's get one more. Inhale on up. Exhale back. And then we're going to stay up and we're going to start to work into some gentle spinal twists. Float yourself up tall again. And let's go to our right side. With an exhale, just sweep the arms down. Inhale, float them up, just moving through the ribs. Exhale, sweep the down hand and up. And we'll exhale, stay down. And what I want you to notice, make sure that right leg isn't collapsing over to the left, nor are you sinking and moving on the hips. Keep lifting up through the ribs, just nice and tall. Again, for most people, this is going to be a warm-up. For some of you, you might need that warm down. So it should feel really good. You might feel a little bit more twist. Give yourself full breaths here. So as you inflate those lungs, you help expand through the ribs, stretching your serratus. And with that exhale, bring it all the way out to really get the benefit of the twist for the digestive system. With your next inhale, float those arms on up and exhale them over now to that left side. And we'll float them up again. Exhale them over. One more time when we stay. Just notice from side to side. One side might be a little bit more flexible than the other, but don't try to force it. That's the beauty of this practice, trying to just even out what we do. Watch where that knee is at. Make sure that knee is not going over to meet the other, and then the hips are still level. Drop your shoulders down. And with each inhale, use that to help turn with, because that provides that safety. And with your exhale, bring everything out. Then inhale again, inflates the lungs, which gives everything in that spine and ribs of yours a little bit more ability and ease to move versus having things collapsed on each other. Give yourself one more full breath in and full breath out. We use that inhale to lift ourselves back up. And we're going to exhale to our first forward fold. We're going to keep the knees soft, crossing the arms under, and find your lap with your chest and belly. Once you find that, and if you have to bring the legs in, bring the legs in. Lift on up. Pull the shoulder blades down. Think up dog or cobra with that nice long spine gazes forward. If you're finding this is easy or you're starting to really loosen up, start to walk the feet a little bit more forward, but keep that contact and keep the chest and heart lifted. If you find the hips are going underneath, just give yourself a little rock and walk them back, or take the hands out and use your hands. Give yourself one more breath here. We're going to do this again. And we use an inhale to stack the spine back up. We're going to either cross our legs to rock over and find your seat, or sweep your legs to your better side. Bring the hands. Find your seat. Find your table. You're going to your table. We have some cat-cows to do. You said we were on our seat. You're right. And find your way there. Once you arrive, spread the fingers wide. You want your middle finger in line with your spine and outer edge of the mat. This isn't always. Whether you're doing planks, push-ups, here, the table, downward facing dog, anytime you're here in a prone position on your hands, make sure you've got that. That helps distribute the weight and protect those wrists and carpals. Now check out where your feet are at. You want those middle toes in line with your heels in the back of the knees so they're not turning in or the ankles rolling out. Find that there. And if they don't quite meet because of your ankle flexibility, that's where you want a towel or a pillow or roll up your mat so you can bring the ground towards you. Now slide the shoulder blades down towards your hips. Pull the abs in from the belly button and up. Pelvic floor if you need. Think of your tailbone going long versus flipping up to the sky doing this. It's looking away to start. And press into the mat through your shins and feet and your hands for a moment as if you're going to levitate up. Keep those abs strong. Give yourself one more breath here. And as you soften back in to prepare for these cat-cows, keep that contact with the shins. Take a breath here and then exhale away up into a cat. Tailbone comes towards the head as you round through your back. Lead with your pelvis. Inhale. As the heart goes forward, head goes forward with your gaze, tailbone up. Exhale. Peeling in again, leading with your pelvis always. Inhale. Going into your cow. Let's get 3 more of these. Moving through the breath. Keeping the hands spread, staying steady on your limbs so you can move through your spine. And gently warm it up. Got one more. If you need a couple extra, you can always pause the video, do a couple extra, and start back up. Now let's find that table again. Halfway in between that strong and one to levitate. So as you're in and up, you may need the pelvic floor as we go into our quadrupeds for your single limb. Pull those shoulder blades down towards your hips. Keep your legs steady, and let's float our right arm forward, thumbs up. We're going to add a little sweep to this to continue warming up. But first, stay here for another moment in this three-leg table as we build some strength. Work into our multi-fit eye. I'm just turning so you can see better what I'm doing with this right side. Keep the feet even and make sure the hips didn't shift. With your next exhale, send this arm back, arm down, pull to the shoulder blade, inhale it back forward. Exhale, sweep it back, forward for 2. Exhale, sweep back, forward 3. Keep those abs engaged. Forward for 4. One more this side. Bring it forward for 5. Float that hand in and down. Find your four-limb table again. Give yourself a breath here. And then with your next exhale, send that left arm forward. Snug those shoulder blades down and do a little body scan here as we arrive in the three-limb table on this side. It may feel totally different. Maybe it feels the same. Keep those feet pressed down in. Use that next exhale, and let's sweep that arm back and bring that arm forward. Sweep back for 2, and forward. Thumb is down as pinky is back on that sweep when you reach. Take it back for 4, and forward. Back for 5. Bring it forward. Float that hand in. Give yourself a quick cat-cow here just to break the tension and move your spine to if you need it. And then find your strong table. At any point, if you're getting any wrist pain or you find that my arms aren't as strong as I thought they were, my wrists are killing me, drop down to your elbows. Do a little safety check here. Anytime you go on your elbows, you want to do this. Make sure you can at least touch the arm. You don't want your fingers going past your triceps, and they need to be able to at least touch your biceps. Then turn pinkies down or palms down, and the same with the feet. You may need to roll up your mat if your wrist doesn't connect to bring the ground towards you. There's the boss cat. I knew he'd be in here in a moment. Pick where you need to be, and now let's snug up that right hip. You want to make sure that pitching up the hip. Yep, we're going to that good old Jane Fonda fire hydrant. It may only lift a couple inches, and that's fine. Flex the foot once it's here, draw that belly in, and we're going to make big circles here through this hip. 5 of them each way. And if you find, oh, I'm really tight, give yourself a couple extra. Then we'll go the opposite way. You want your hip to do it and not your back. We'll bring that leg in. Quick cat-cow here or 2. Find that table, find the straight, shoulder blades down. Snug up that left side. Flex that foot. Maybe you're drawing on the baseboard. Make sure you're not doing this. And let's make those big circles here. They might be ovals, they might be triangles if it's tight. 4, 5, opposite way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bring that leg in. Quick cat-cow there. Now we're going to find our child's pose. We're going to take our knees wide and start with opening up our hips. Toes will come towards each other. They can lightly touch, just so make sure they're not stacked on top of each other. Send your hips back. This is another place you may need your blanket and your ball. You can put your blanket underneath your head. You can put the ball underneath your hips, or vice versa, just to bring the ground towards you to allow your body to stretch. So there's multiple places you can place the arms for child's pose. They can go in front, as I'm demonstrating. Some people like them reaching behind them, palms up. Some like to reach and grab their heels or snug underneath the ankles, or rest on top of the feet. There's no better position. Go with what your body allows for comfort and for rest. The tighter your shoulders are, sometimes it feels better to have them back behind you. If you have a really wide rib cage, sometimes it feels good to have them ahead of you. There's many different factors. There's no benefit from one or the other. It's finding comfort. It's what the goal here is to let the hips open up. So it's important to have these comfortable. So if you need something underneath your lap, to let the quads stretch so the hips come down, do that. Give yourself one more breath here. And then with your next inhale, spread your fingers wide like starfish. Slide them underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up just a little bit so you can bring the legs together as we go into the other position, bringing the knees together to stretch our backs. And readjust your props as needed. As you can feel the difference with the hips now sinking down, and you have something to gently take your spine arcing over to let it start to open up and decompress. As we all know or have felt, and work together. So you always want to address both. Make sure your toes are going straight back. Don't cross them over each other and don't let them come in to touch each other. With the angle, with the wide, that helps keep the knee alignment. But with this close together, you want to keep the same knee alignment going straight back. So think of it that way. Give yourself one more full breath in here and full breath out. With your next inhale in, spread those fingers wide, slide them underneath, press yourself up, give yourself a little bit of length here. And then we're going to find our table one more time. Well, actually, we'll find it a couple times in transition. Give yourself a quick cat-cow here. We're going to go on into our lizard. I'm going to turn myself forward so you can see from this view. You may choose to stay down on hands and knees. You may choose to come on up and go down in traditional. I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of both. With an inhale, let's stack our spines on up. This may be hard for you if you're new to the practice. I want you to take a peek back no matter how seasoned you are. Check out where your feet are at. Make sure your little toe is in line with your heel. Those heels are in line with the kneecap. Start to lengthen through the tailbone and find that roller coaster seat again with your chest. This may be a very difficult position. If you're, again, new, just do the best that you can. You may need to set yourself up near something or stop this and go near a piece of furniture on the wall. Keep that lift there. Keep lifting up. We're going to bring our right leg forward as we prepare to go into it. If you need to drop on your hands and knees and bring that leg forward, please do so. However you get it there, gently bring that leg forward. Once it's there, peel yourself back on up, if you can. Lengthen the tailbone. Make sure this knee and ankle are in alignment and with that little toe. Let's pull that right hip back, left a little forward. Float the arms up. If you're here in the air with me, if you're on the ground, just get that alignment. Float your hands down. Bring that left hand right underneath the armpit. Just let the right arm find its spot. It'll get there. Start to heel toe your way out. And that way you can start to bring that right hand where it belongs, fingers spread. When you find a stretch in your glute max, that's the big part of the hip, stop there. If you found that you walk too far and you can't even move the leg, bring it in about 2. And now fan that knee out. If there's a little pencil is drawn on that sidewall, bring it back in. We fan it out, keep the abs firm. Back in, shoulders down, fan it out. Bring it in 3. Now we're going to fan it out and leave it out. Keep the chest lifted proud, and unless you're very comfy like and super warm, stay up here versus folding on your elbows. You don't want to just hunch over because actually you lose a lot of that stretch just for going for a pose that you've seen others do. Because we're going for the benefit, not for the look. Give yourself another breath here. And if you want to add a little extra to it, if you're comfortable with it, pick up that right arm, take your forearm and rest fingers down, right on it. You're not pressing, you're just adding that extra weight, and follow with your gaze if you choose to do this. I'm going to hold for 2 more breaths here. Full breath in, full breath out. Give yourself another breath in, and gently let that breath go. That arm is up, inhale that arm down, and with your next exhale, fan the leg in, heel toe it back in. Take your hands if you need to help it, and find your strong table again. Arrange everything and give yourself a couple cat-cows here. Prepare for side 2. Use an exhale to draw yourself up tall, lengthen that tailbone. Take that peek back, make sure the feet are in alignment. Start to puff back up through the chest again. Pausing here. If you know you need to go down to swing the leg around, go ahead down. If you're comfortable here, let's lift that leg and bring it forward. And arrange. Knee over top of the heel. Little toes in line with that kneecap. And if you're down, if you can, peel yourself off back up. Lengthen that tailbone again. Right hip forward, left hip back. We'll float the arms up, lower ourselves down. So we all join down here. Pull in the abs, bring that right hand underneath the armpit and start to heel toe that left leg out. Bring that left hand on in alignment. When you find that spot, may be very different from the other, pause there. And if you went too far, just bring it back in. With an inhale, let that knee fall out. Exhale, draw it in. And let it fan out. Back in for 2. And we fan it out. In for 3. And fan it out and stay. Because here's another spot if you have a bolster. If you're finding this is too much pressure or you're not strong enough yet, you can use a bolster. Give yourself another breath, especially if you're seated doing it. It may feel good to have that bolster on your lap while you got the leg out to the side. Now, if you did this on the other side, go ahead. Pick that arm up, fingers down, and follow with your gaze, pulling that shoulder blade towards your hip. And hold here for 2 more breaths. Slow flow gives you that time to get yourself there, find what you need, and get some benefit from it. All practices are good, but for building more strength and mobility, this is what will take you to that next level for everything that you do. One more breath. And if you have that arm up, gently bring it down with this exhale. And we'll inhale that knee in. Heel toe your way until it's there. Help it if you need it. Find your cat again. Give yourself several. And then we're going to find side bend. And gently, from this position, roll yourself back up. Lengthen the tailbone, pump up through the chest. And then extend the right leg first out to the side. Just find where it will go. You may need to use your hands. You may need to be back in cat-cow table and bring that leg around. And then roll yourself up. And just lengthen through the tailbone first. Check out that back leg. That's quite important. We're going to segue through it with a little bit of gate pose. Turn the toes out if it's comfortable for you. Turn the toes in. It just depends on your ankle mobility. Keep that tailbone down. And then float your arms on out to the sides. With an inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Lift up through those ribs. Exhale, gently release. With an inhale, squeeze. Release for 2. And inhale, squeeze. Stay here. Keep the tailbone looking down. That's your anchor. Keep lifting above the ribs. If you have little hooks, gaze is found. If this is your first time on my channel, you know I like to add little surprise things in. For those of you who have been there, you know me. Keep the shoulder blades down, fingers spread wide. One more breath here. Let those pecs open up. With your next exhale, bring the spine back into neutral. This is another spot if you need your block or something taller. You're going to bring that left arm down to the ground and float that right arm up. Fingers are spread wide and it's going to be right underneath your armpit. That middle finger is still going in that line. So you're right in line with that knee crease on the ground. Just float that arm on up to the sky. Give yourself some energy. Most of the weight is on your bottom half. A little kickstand here, I could actually move that if I had to, so I don't have that much weight on it. It's just there to support my torso. Core is doing most of it. You may be new to this, and the arm may be doing a little bit more. That's understood. Just make sure you're not locking out. One more breath. With this exhale, we're going to start with just the palm reaching over. Just find that there, and now pretend you've got those hooks underneath those left ribs and rotate up to the sky. There's different positions you can play with here, different things that may be going on with your shoulder. The palm may not be comfortable. You can turn the thumb down. You may feel that going further down the ribs on into the hip flexors with that thumb down, pinky up. You can also turn palm up. You might feel that go all the way down to the arch of your foot. Any of the 3 are safe to do, and you can experiment with all 3. Give yourself another full breath in here. And full breath out. Then fold to that elbow. You can either bring the hand down and yogi walk to the front of your mat to slide the leg around, or if you have the core strength, cartwheel yourself on up. Use your core, don't use your neck and your shoulders. And then we'll all fold down, slide your leg in, use your hands if you need to. Give yourself 3 big cat-cows here. Move through your spine before we go to that other side. And find again what you need. If you're comfortable, peel yourself on up first, lengthen through the tailbone, pop up through the chest and the ribs, and then we'll extend that left leg out. Notice we took the time with that, which we will again to allow those hip flexors to open up. Lots of little different things happening here. One pose may not just necessarily work one area. And as we have anchors, that's why I keep having you check that. Check that right foot, making sure everything's in its place. Form is everything. For those of you who don't know, it's Iyengar yoga that I practice. Some of you who do know me know that's what I do, and that fits along with my day job. Because as an athletic trainer and exercise physiologist, and helping chronic pain patients as well as athletes form get to where you need to be. Give yourself another breath here. Explore that foot. Maybe it's opened up and you can move it. Maybe it's just starting to feel good now. Now let's bring our arms on up to the sides. And with the inhale, squeeze into those shoulder blades. Exhale, gently release. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, release 2. Inhale, squeeze, and stay. Recheck that tailbone. This is still looking down, lifting up to those ribs, those little hooks. Gaze is going up into the horizon high. Fingers spread. Let those shoulders squeeze in towards the spine as you pull them down towards your hips. One more full breath here. And full breath out. I got a few more handful of things underneath me as well that's got me through this journey with certifications and degrees, but it all works together to help all of you stay healthier. Start to re-correct the spine with an inhale. And now we're going to find ourselves going over for our side bend, bringing that right hand right underneath the armpit and shoulder. If you need that block, use it on whatever setting, or if you've got a bolster or something bigger, use it. You can also lean out on the elbow. And if you're in your chair, you can have it looped around your back and bind or wrapped underneath your chair. Staying here, opening up the side, reaching for the sky with that left arm. Keeping that right foot grounded. Let that left hip open. And now find those little hooks underneath those right ribs and rotate up a little bit more towards the sky. Give yourself another breath here. And with this next exhale, send that arm on over. Find what works for you. We're going to be here for a few breaths, so you can play with those different arm positions. With the palm down, keeping rotating, looking up. And if it felt good with the pinky out, that felt better due to maybe some restrictions in the shoulder. The same with the palm. Particularly if you recently had shoulder surgery, you're still working through it. You may need to just be here and have that elbow up, which is a perfectly fine modification. It's the lift out of the ribs. The arm just helps propel that, make that a little bit deeper. Give yourself 2 more breaths here. Full breath in and full breath out. Give yourself another breath in. Slowly let it go. With your inhale, either bring the arm down and yogi walk to the front of the mat, or use your core to gently pull yourself up. And we'll all meet at the front of the mat. Fold that leg in. We're going to find our child's pose to end this today. And with it hopefully feeling a lot more flexible. Let's take the knees wide again. Have your preps ready. Remember, knee alignment, middle toe alignment as they look towards each other so they can touch, just don't let them cross. Find that spot that works for you. If the hips are still feeling a little tight and you need that blanket, put that blanket under there. Because you can always pull it out when it starts to release. You need it underneath your head, put it underneath your head. Again, they make the practice deeper. 2 more breaths here. Always get there, then settle in. Big breath in, big breath out. The breath is both movements, inhalation and exhalation, not just inhale and then, oh, I'm done. Stay for the exhale. The next inhale, slide the hands underneath, bring the knees close together as we stretch the back down. We'll actually add one more thing here. We're going to recheck that forward fold. Snuggle right in, use what you need.
Remember, knees and toes are in alignment, so they're both looking straight back versus the toes looking at each other for comfort, going, oh, help me, help me. Tell them they'll be fine. Give yourself 2 more breaths here. Full breath in and full breath out. And 1 more breath in. And slowly let it go. Spread your fingers wide. Inhale those hands back and press yourself up with that exhale. Give yourself a little length. And now let's go to our unintuitive side. So when you swept your legs to go into your table, if you went to your easier side, now let's use our more challenging side. Or if you tend to cross your ankles to find that, cross them the opposite way. So find that opposite way and find your seat again. Get the flesh out from underneath your hips. For you very guppy like people or experienced yogis, this is where you may want your strap or your block to go into forward fold and give you that little bit more length as we get there. For those of you who are just starting out, or maybe you're experienced and you're just really stiff today, we're to start with those legs folded again. Lift right up, find the chest and lap. Give yourself that hug, hug the opposite way. Start to slide it out until you feel the nice deep stretch in your hips. This forward fold is for the hips first, then the low back. Everything else gets a little benefit from it. Couple more breaths here, and then find that spot. And if you know I'm ready to go on out, take that strap. Keep the toes up, keep that lift as you gently ease the elbows down. And let your lap and your torso find each other again. Maybe you have your blocks underneath your arms. Maybe you're still in bent knees. Maybe you're super stiff and you just might be here. And this feels really good. Go with what feels good. I had some injuries a few years ago that this is where I was for a very long time. And it's okay to be there. You can progress. It takes a little work. Give yourself another breath or 2. Or if you want to hang out longer, just go ahead and turn off the video. But when you're ready to come up, use an inhale to come up. Make sure you have your props out of the way and have yourself an absolutely beautiful day.